Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to today's video. Today was an early day. Had to get up super early, drive Tiffany to the airport. She is off on her business adventure trip. Business adventure. I'll let her tell the story when she gets back, but it sounds like she's having more of a good time and a party week coming up, but technically it is work. So while she's off having fun, we're going to be here sharing the cruise news. Now, first up, we have Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas. On Monday, she was docking in Seattle, but due to high winds, she ended up having to go to Anchorage. She had to wait 7 additional hours before she was able to dock. She needed additional tugboat support. So there was a wind advisory in Elliott Bay that morning, and just in an abundance of caution and safety, the tugboats that were there, they just weren't big enough. They didn't feel that they could dock safely without any risk. They had to wait for additional larger, bigger tugboats to come in before they were finally able to dock about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, it was about a 7-hour delay. Now, of course, that affects disembarkation. You know, people had early flights scheduled. They missed their flights. Even some of the afternoon flights were probably missed over a 7-hour delay. It affects the follow-on embarkation as well. And weather, of course, can affect cruise ships at any time, any place. We'll have another story about weather here coming up after this one. But what I do find amusing, and it's just purely from a pure amusement standpoint, is there was a local news report that came out about Quantum of the Seas having to go to Anchorage. And a lot of times when your mainstream news does cruise stories, they exaggerate the problem. They blow it way out of proportion. Well, in this case, honestly, she just got a lot of it wrong. And I don't know if it was bad research. She was given bad research. They wrote the wrong things on her cue cards. I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm going to share this news clip with you. Like I said, take it as nothing more than a morning chuckle, and see if you guys can spot what's wrong with this particular news video.
Well, the high winds forcing a couple of cruise ships to anchor in Elliott Bay for the time being, and we're getting some new information about that situation.
Yeah, Fox 13's Taylor Winkle just got the new information from the Coast Guard. Taylor, what did they have to say?
Yeah, that's right, you guys. It is exceptionally windy out here. We did just get off the phone with the Coast Guard. I want to point out, we're talking about these two ships. The Royal Quantum is the big one on the left, and then the smaller one on the right is a Royal Caribbean. So the Coast Guard, we had heard from the Port of Seattle in the last half hour that it was too windy for these cruise ships to dock, so they were anchoring here in Elliott Bay to wait out this wind until it was safe enough for them to do so. Coast Guard tells us both these ships technically can dock right now. They say the Quantum of the Sea had asked last minute for this little anchorage spot, their boat parking spot here in Elliott Bay, if you will, to wait for an extra tugboat. Coast Guard tells us these big cruise ships, they usually take 2 tugboats to get them to shore. Today, they want a third one because of the windy conditions, or maybe a bigger one. They're trying to get that extra tugboat right now to bring them back in. And then the Royal Caribbean's Roland Admonson is the smaller cruise ship out here. They had asked to have this anchorage spot, this parking spot, days ago. So they're not stuck. The Coast Guard couldn't tell us what they were doing out here, but they had planned previously to park here. By the looks of their website, that Quantum is scheduled to leave Seattle this afternoon at 4 p.m. We don't know if that's going to happen because of their late dock.
All right, and there you go. So the Royal Quantum and the other Royal Caribbean ship in the bay there at Anchorage, at least according to this news clip. Now, the other ship in there was a Hurtigruten ship. She was always scheduled to be there at Anchorage, and Hurtigruten is not owned by Royal Caribbean. But like I said, take it at just what it is, and just take it as a Tuesday morning chuckle. Now, in another weather-related story, we have more disappointment for the Carnival Pride. Carnival Pride is currently sailing a Greenland Journeys cruise where they were supposed to have 2 stops in Greenland. And for a lot of people, this is a bucket list cruise. Not a lot of cruise ships go to Greenland. You don't get the opportunity to go to Greenland very often. That's why it's a Carnival Journeys cruise. It's why it's a very popular cruise that sells out very quickly. And they were supposed to have been in Greenland on June 1st and June 2nd. But poor weather, ice still in the area, prevented the ship from docking at either of the two Greenland ports. Now, they were able to get a little scenic sailing in, sail through some of the fjords up in the area, got some beautiful views, got to see some beautiful vistas, but of course, it's from on board the cruise ship. They didn't actually get off. Now, to compensate the passengers, Carnival did give $400 of onboard credit per stateroom. But unfortunately, that's not even the end of the disappointment for the Carnival Pride. Now, on the original itinerary, they were supposed to be in St. Anthony today, June the 4th. However, because they skipped the two ports in Greenland, St. Anthony was moved back to yesterday, June the 3rd. The ship did arrive in St. Anthony, did drop anchor. It is a tender port, so they would have to use the water shuttles. However, again, bad weather, dense fog prevented them from even being able to disembark the ship, and they could not go into St. Anthony, now making it 3-port cancellation. Now, the Carnival Pride departed back on May 26th, which means she has been at sea the entire time so far. 8 straight days at sea, and her next scheduled port stop is going to be tomorrow at Corner Brook. So hopefully the weather is good. Hopefully everything goes right and folks are finally able to get a little bit of time off of the ship. Now, we all know the cruise lines absolutely do not control the weather. There's no magic button you can press up on the bridge to make conditions perfect for docking. But I still can understand how you booked a Carnival Journeys cruise to go to Greenland, and now you've been at sea for 8 days. It is going to be a bit disappointing. The crew is working hard, keep everybody happy, keep everybody entertained, but I guarantee you there is disappointment on board that ship. And if I was on that ship, I'd be disappointed too. Not mad, not pissed off, not yelling at customer service, but I definitely would be disappointed. And finally, P&O Cruises Australia. Well, P&O Cruises Australia is going away and will be no more. Carnival Corporation has announced the beginning in March of 2025. P&O Cruises Australia will be sunset. They're going to shut it down, close it down, and absorb it into Carnival Cruise Lines. The Pacific Encounter and the Pacific Adventure, those two ships are going to be rebranded as Carnival Cruise Line ships, while the Pacific Explorer is scheduled to leave the fleet in February of 2025. Don't know if she's being sold, don't know if she's being scrapped, but she will no longer be a part of the fleet. Now, this move is being made to streamline the company. It's a business decision. It's going to increase the capacity of Carnival Cruise Lines, their flagship brand. And for folks sailing Australia, you're going to see your ships get repainted and rebranded. The Carnival Splendor is still scheduled to stay in Australia. The Carnival Luminosa will be sailing seasonally from Australia, and the rebranded Encounter and Adventure are also currently scheduled to still stay in Australia. Now, for folks cruising in Australia, though, this does have some, what I would say, positive possibilities. Nothing in stone, nothing written. Carnival hasn't said anything, just possibilities, meaning that with more ships available, all from Carnival Cruise Lines, there's a possibility that Carnival may rotate different ships in and out of Australia in their future cruise planning. Doesn't mean it will happen. It's just a possibility, because I do know people in Australia have been asking, have been wondering, will they ever get some different ships? This move means that's possible. Not that it's going to happen, but hey, you never know. Carnival could release for upcoming itineraries ship changes in Australia, which would be good news for those down there that would like to sail on a different ship. All right, and that is going to be our cruise news video for today. If you've enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps the channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day, and like always, we will see you out on the high seas.